Some of the people are having refreshments, giving them a few minutes. I'll briefly tell you what's happening in MMA next few days so that you don't miss them. And there are some of the outstanding events you're doing this week. One is happening on 28th of June, that is day after tomorrow. The theme is Conclave on Generative AI, the future is here. And I can tell you, we got some outstanding speakers. If you're not able to come, please join online, you can watch them. We have Gopi Kalyal, is global head of Google, he is talking to us. Then we also have Jasprit Bindra, he is generative AI and 5 fundamental facts, he is going to be talking to us. Then we have Shanki Viswanathan from this is the inaugural session. Then we also have special sessions, understanding generative AI. Again, we have outstanding speakers, Dinesh Kumar from IIM Bangalore. Then we also have Vijay Karunakaran, of CEO of Engage. Then we have large language model, what is chat GPT and other generative AI models and how it's being application in various things. We got Balaji chairing the session. John Johan is joining us from USA. He's authority on generative AI video. That's a big organization there. And also Sutlai Rajkumar, he is a head of AIML and 4X Grandmaster Angel Investor, AIML advisor. Then we also have current challenges in ethical regulatory data. We have Vijay Navi, who's authority on cyber security from FDPPI from Bangalore. We got again 3 outstanding speakers, Hemant from Shardul Amarchand, Magesh Ramachandran, CEO of Tech Innovations, and also Rishad Rashid, partner cybersecurity from technology. This is the last session, is very, very interesting. What we do is all about its impact on industry, where Divya will be leading the conversation with Dandabani from Zoho, Vijay Gnanadesigan from Factor, and Kaushik is from Kissflow, Mr. Netra is from USA, Institute of Analytics USA. Kevin is again from founder CEO of My Production, director Vscale. Why I'm telling you, it's a very interesting event. Even you're not able to come, this event is webcast live. We already have 200 plus registration already done for this event. So then on, very, very important is the MMA AGM. MMA AGM, the award function is scheduled to be held on Friday, the 7th July. All the winners, they make a presentation. We already shared with you the invitation on all the 4 winners from manufacturing, education, services, and also MSMEs. They make a presentation what made them win this award. And they have gone through a very tough process put forth by Deloitte. Deloitte is the process consultant for the award. They went through the entire process. They are the one who shortlisted. And we have very, very high profile jury who selected. They'll be making a presentation followed by the award presentation ceremony where Shenu Agarwal, Managing Director and CEO of Ashok Leyland Limited, and also Srinivas Dempo. Dempo is the chairman of Dempo Group of Companies from Pune. He'll be coming from Goa. These are the things. Then also we have lined up lots of events in the month of July. 12th we have Women and Sustainability. We are doing it jointly with Vicky Flow. Then Read and Grow is on 21st. Then we have a policy matter. Again, very, very interesting subject, or reviving manufacturing sector. Why and how? Again, we have got some outstanding speakers. A lot of events have been finalized till about August. I thought I'll stop with this, and because we are all eagerly looking forward to the topic which we are going to discuss. Today's talk, when Mr. Satyamurthy called up, I think this is a topic which is very rarely discussed, but it's very got a serious consequences. Urbanization, social change, and development. What is the Tamil Nadu experience? Because this is a topic which is very dear to many, but not many know about what. That's why we got really outstanding experts to come and speak to us. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hand together to welcome distinguished speakers for this evening. Mr. Poornalingam, IAS retired, is the former Secretary to the Government of India. Then we have Anju Mary, Director, Industry Affairs, Communication, Sustainability from Danfoss Industries Limited. We have Satyamurthy, Convener, Policy Matter. May I request you please take your place on the dais, sir. Very, very warm round of applause to our distinguished speakers for this evening. You know, the format, what we follow is as usual. I'll introduce all the speakers. Then Mr. Satyamurthy will set the context. Thereafter, each of the distinguished speakers will share their insight. And unfortunately, Dr. Vijayabaskar is unable to join us today, but is promised to compensate by coming in another event very soon at MMA. Satyamurthy it's always a pleasure to introduce him, convener of Policy Matters Chennai, and he's a policy analyst, political commentator, specializing in southern neighbor, namely Maldives and Sri Lanka. Satyamurthy is also associated with major newspapers, TV channels, both in India and Sri Lanka. A veteran journalist, author, is a convener of Policy Matters Chennai, where MMA and Policy Matter work closely on many issues, and he's always a think tank. You always think and something new. I know how many of you read these articles, something out of the box article, and you will know so many things which otherwise you don't get them in the newspaper. That's what is the beauty of Mr. Satyamurthy. Very warm welcome to Satyamurthy. It's a pleasure to have you with us this evening. Let me have the privilege of introducing Mr. Poornalingam, IAS, former Secretary Govt of India. He's not new to MMA, and his speech, what he spoke about Tirukkural, is still remembered by many, and we keep circulating so many excellent feedback, so much of demand. We keep circulating your articles week after week because a lot of people wanted them. And he is a distinguished officer of Indian Administrative Service, held significant positions in both central and state government, making notable contribution in various sectors. A Secretary of the Ministry of Disinvestment, he spearheaded NTPC IPO, and Secretary of Ministry of Textiles, he formulated policies for modernization. In Tamil Nadu, Poornalingam served as a chairman of the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board, overseeing the power generation, distribution, state health secretary, and he also implemented policies and reduced the birth rate, infant mortality rate, which is a very significant achievement by him while he was on service. He established Tamil Nadu Medical Service Corporation, revolutionary drug availability, and praised by everyone what made drugs available so easily in government hospitals. Post-retirement, he chairs the CDOT, Alcatel Center, and also Tamil Nadu Police Commission. Currently, he is advisor of international organizations like World Bank, DFID, UNICEF, focus on improving procurement processes. And he also he holds a degree in electrical engineering, law, economics, and many more. And there could be nobody better than Mr. Poornalingam to talk on this very, very important subject. Very warm welcome to you, sir. It's always a pleasure, privilege to have you with us. And our another distinguished speaker for this evening is Anju Mary. Anju is a Director of Industries Affairs, Communications, Sustainability, Danfoss, very versatile personality. She runs it so beautifully. I've seen some of the initiatives, what she does with Danfoss is mind-boggling. She's a communication, branding, CSR, sustainability, public industry affairs, media, employee engagement, events, campaign, public speaking, and people management, all are passionate subject. Having worked in various leading corporates and media service organizations in India and abroad, she's set herself a very high standard for everything what she executes. Winner of CSR Abroad Award from Ministry of Denmark, Golden Peacock Award for Environment Management Excellence and recognition with the Government of Tamil Nadu, Telangana CSR work in the area of education, skill development, amongst other members of CIA Council Climate Change, CASR, CSR, and Affirmative Action Council, select other industries. She is a graduate from IIM Lucknow and a lot of other qualifications relevant to sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a very piece of the time on the very, very important, a big round of applause to our distinguished panelists this evening. Now I request Satyamurthy to please set the context and take it forward. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Stuck it to Tamil Nadu for a simple reason. It is where it's all happening. All are interlocked to one another. And are we going the right direction? Or is the right direction, if it is right direction, is it a model that the rest of the nation can follow or should follow? And if it is not going the right direction, what correctives need to be done? Where are we erring and what correctives need to be done? Because we are really, Tamil Nadu, as you know, over the last several decades, for historic reasons and other ways, it has been in the forefront of social change. Social change has brought in urbanization. Or is it urbanization? That question itself needs to be resolved. Is it urbanization that has caused social change? By urbanization, I mean, see, for instance, as you would have read, there was some kind of a homogeneity made available to this part of the country alone because the British, English East India Company took over the administration, revenue administration. Then if you look at any part of the state, there is a particular form of education, healthcare. These are two parameters that often experts say are basic requirement for social uplift, and by that you can say social change. When that homogenization happens, you also see a certain element of urbanization coming in. Okay, you can't compare Madras to the rest of the state. Because of that, there is again inward migration from the rest of the state to the city. If you look at the 1941 census and 51 census, there is a huge gap, like between 1911 census and 1921 census. For those particularly young students who didn't know, in the second decade of the previous century, there was a huge drought in what we call the Delta districts, and a lot of people migrated to the city for work. That caused it. And likewise, as you know, it was then Madras presidency, people from rest of the presidency, whether it was Andhra area or Kerala, what is now Kerala, or what is now Karnataka, they all came here for jobs. If you look at this city, this is actually cosmopolitan, much as we would say it is a Tamil city or Tamilian city. And the history of this Madras city itself is a beautiful concept to be studied in the context of today's topic. For a simple reason, there are, because of the British rule, I am not going into this education, etc., when they started annexing regions, what is today Kerala, from, Malabar, what is called, used to be called Malabar, became part of Madras presidency. Andhra part were here. The Mysore areas ruled by Tipu Sultan, Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan were annexed into Madras presidency. And people from there migrated here for work or whatever was possible, or education. This is one thing that has led to urbanization of Madras city. But for similar reasons, if you look at every district town, there was some higher education, collegiate education, was available even about every region. If you look at it, the pockets, at least one college. So there was a kind of change that has caused over 200, 300 years, this kind of social change which is unavailable to many parts of the country. I would say all the parts of the country, many parts of the country, they are always 30 to 50 years behind Tamil Nadu. Even if you take Kerala, see, we all, particularly elders among us, would know that in 1957, the first communist government in the world, democratically elected communist government, was elected and formed in Kerala. Do you know how it happened? Because of linguistic reorganization. Those were areas that went with Kerala at that time were actually for part of the Madras presidency. Post-independence, it became part of composite Madras state. Otherwise, possibly the first communist government or the left-leaning government would have been formed in 1957 in what is today Tamil Nadu or composite Madras state at that time, with all these regions included. And if you look at the first general election results, 1952, the Congress and the left-leaning parties, there were communists, there was Professor N.G. Ranga's party, all those parties together, they tied. And Commonwealth Party, there were two one-year community parties in North and South Orchard, they tied. And only the casting vote of Speaker Sivashanmugam Pillai saved the day for Chief Minister Rajaji. So the social dynamics have got its impact everywhere, starting with politics. If you talk about caste politics here, or subsidies or freebies, whatever you talk, there is a social change behind it. Social change in turn is driven by this need for understanding the basic cause, that is development. Development doesn't actually mean industry or anything in particular, or roads or electricity. It is a social development also. But today we have come a full circle. Every other employee, labor, is coming from outside the state. Does it mean our boys and girls are unemployed? No. They may be underemployed in certain academic perception. But there are people, they are making their money, they are happy doing what they are doing. It is not that they are unemployed or underemployed, as some people from outside the state may want us to believe. Or at least that is my perception. But having said that, there may be pluses or minuses. And again, what is it the government of India, whichever party or leader is ruling, is doing? They have only taken over the projects and schemes that were implemented in Tamil Nadu 10 years back, 15 years back, and are continuing, and change the name and giving it a national prestige. Nothing wrong. What I'm saying is the social change that everyone is attempting to create elsewhere in the country, across the country, has its beginnings here, and we are 30 to 50 years ahead of the rest of the country for historic reasons. I'm not going into political causes and reasons, say like Justice Party was born, or the reservation issue came here in 1921 and 24 and 27, or the Comrades introduced free education and free noon meal scheme. And not many people remember what Mr. Bhaktavasaran did as Chief Minister. He requested and got government-run Devasam board temples, big temples, with enough funds to start colleges. That is why if you look at Parani or our college and all that was there, then came பாரதியார் சொன்னார்ல அன்னச்சத்திரம் ஆயிரம் அது மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் வந்திருக்குங்க. Then MGR government privatized education, higher education. These are all part of the process. Today, every district in Tamil Nadu has got one medical college. And every village where there is no road, there is an engineering college first, and then a road comes. I have actually seen in some places. You go there once, there's some building is coming up, you can't reach there because there is no road. 5 years down the line, you go there, there is a good road, and there is a flourishing engineering college. Maybe not many engineering colleges should not be there in the first place, but that is how, as a senior official told me long ago, look at how Madras Medical College would have been when it was started. We are going through that phase. And it happens. There will be some, not all the boys grow into man as we know. So some of these things happen. This social change has not been conceptualized or understood enough by anyone, including me. Maybe I am wrong, maybe I am right, maybe our speakers are right or wrong. But more serious work needs to be done in making this correlation between urbanization, social change and development. And this development keeps changing from generation to generation. Year on year, there is a change in the concept of development. Today, no one is talking about manufacturing sector per se as a source of economic development. It is IT. Everyone is talking about manufacturing. Of course, we may be doing a session here one of these days on manufacturing. But when it's manufacturing again, we are not talking about job creation. It is about robotics, about AI. Every government is signing agreements with investors, whether it is domestic investor or foreign investor, whether it is in rupees or dollar terms. They are saying we are creating so many jobs. But is it the kind of job that is numbers that is enough for our kind of population growth? Then population growth is going to be another big issue, particularly in socio-political terms. When we have the next census, which should have been in 2021, but now it has been deferred. First because of COVID, then because of elections, impending elections next year. So that is going to hold a lot of questions. That is going to raise a lot of questions with maybe no answers. That can create, again, I won't call it a social upheaval. There is going to be a social change, perceptions about social change, political change, how it is again going to impact development investments, all that. We have two eminent speakers here, and Mr. Poornalingam, as its group captain Vijayabaskar pointed out, has got a vast experience in the field of administration. As you would have noticed, generally for all these seminars here, we invite at least one veteran bureaucrat, because they know how to run, and what will not work. A lot of us will have a lot of ideas, but when it has to be put on paper and implemented, it may not work at all. Right? So we are very clear and careful to have someone with that kind of a background. Maybe something can be modified and reworked to make them work. And then always an industry leader here, because they are also part of this society. They are, as I saw, pointed out, all the development we are talking about, urbanization we are talking about, they are at the backbone of it. And of course, we had an academic, we would have given it a different perspective. But unfortunately, Professor Vijayabaskar was called away somewhere. It was not anticipated. With that few words, I invite Mr. Poornalingam to take the chair. Thank you.
Captain Vijayakumar, Mr. Satyamurthy, Mrs. Anju and friends here. At the outset, I would like to thank the Madras Management Association for giving me this opportunity. This is a subject on which I don't normally speak. There are many subjects on which I do speak, but this is something which I normally don't. But then, Vijayakumar's persuasive abilities. I was in Bangalore. He said, please, sir, etc. That pushed me into the library. When I have to speak to an audience, normally I jot down something and speak. But this time I went to the library and collected some data and looked at what is this subject of urbanization and social change. I think when I'm very certain that urbanization is a sign of development. There's nothing to be sorry about, because when I looked at the data, I find that in Western countries or developed countries, urbanization is 79%. It's a little outdated figure. It should be the same there. But in India, it is about 36. I'm giving the figure of 2010, maybe 38 now. So, at world average I looked at, it is 53%. So, urbanization and development are closely linked. You cannot escape. Some of the leaders, some policy makers have a very romantic notion of making rural areas livable and every facility will be created. I remember a scheme called Pura. It's not going to work. No, any government planning against the nature of urbanization is not going to work. So we have to accept the reality. The urbanization is part of the process of development. And one surprising fact I found, I knew that But then I looked at the data. Tamil Nadu is the most urbanized state in the country. That shows our growth is much better than most others. And I think Mr. Sadimurthy himself said 30 to 25 years ahead of others. I would say 40 to 50 years. I've seen most of the states with my own eyes. Therefore, it's a sign of development and growth. Because why this is happening, all of us will grumble. I also grumbled today because I couldn't get that excellent tiffin was offered by Captain Vijayabaskar because I was held up in Eldam's Road. Why? Because we all grumble, it takes so much of time, etc., etc. The planners are no good, everything they will say. But I feel that the solution is to have very good urban planning. But what should be the goal? Then should Mr. Poornalingam be enabled to come quickly to the MMA? Or you move around quickly? What is the goal? I think I read a lot. And I feel the goal should be the people should live better. That's the simplest goal of urban planning. I have lived in the city from 1974 when I came as Under Secretary of Finance long back. And many of you would have lived longer, would have dreams of the old Delhi, old Chennai. Now I know Eldam's Road, I know all these places. Am I living better? If I ask that question, the reply is not very clear. More mosquitoes, okay? And then you see, the other day, I went to a bank just behind my house, HDFC Bank. I just walked, I don't want to take the car. There's no place to park. I just walked, corporation has put payments at a cost of say 25 lakhs in one of the roads. And here they have not put any payment. So it's a distance of, behind my house, it's not more than 250 feet. I am not able to walk. So what do they plan for? I really don't know. Yesterday I did not go to the regular walking place and therefore I walked in Indiranagar. I find stormwater drains in the middle of the road. I may even trip and fall. The road is supposed to be a road. Why? These questions have to be asked by citizens, not by industries alone. Because many people, I have been an urban manager, as Dr. Vijayakumar said, for 2.5 years, I was in charge of the corporation. The main reason for this is urban planning and execution is fragmented. There is something called a CMDA here. It is supposed to plan for Chennai, Yeah, it did some good work. I'm not saying they have not done any good work. Ring Road, which has become a narrow road now, was planned in my days of 74. They thought of satellite cities like Maremele Nagar, I think Ennore. I have forgotten that. 74, 75. Mr. Dattaratri used to interact with me. I used to be thrilled. Oh, Chennai is going to be great. Now they have taken an outer road, etc., etc. Why are they thinking in piecemeal? Why don't they have a plan for 25 years? Because none of us ask it. There is a flood, immediately we say, do something about it. Oh, there is flood there. There is rainwater in front of my house, do something. They put more stormwater drain. So, this kind of non-involvement of the public in the planning. Then, as I said, fragmented. City metro is nothing, these people have nothing to do with it, CMDA. Their only job, according to me, Karthyapan will know, is only to clear this multi-storied buildings. And that's all. Their planning, nobody listens. I myself did not listen because I was corporation. I was independent. I had the powers of the mayor and council. So I did whatever I felt like. There is no coordination. Electricity board will do. And I have not seen it anywhere in the Western countries. I have visited many countries. Whenever I visit, I used to feel, why can't we live this well? Don't we think like that? I don't know. We enjoy, we go there, have a holiday, weather is good, everything is good. But we never think, why can't I live like this in Chennai? More mansions have come here. Each house costs now 5 crores or 6 crores. But if you look at the roads, look at the infrastructure, we have not planned. Don't we know that the city will grow like this? Take for example, the satellite city. If you want to go there, that Maraimalai Nagar, I think you need a lifetime of time in the car itself to go there. Okay, why did you plan for some suburban trains or underground trains well in time? So, instead of criticizing them, I would like to make some suggestions, but of course, these suggestions are for the government. They didn't listen to me even when I was in service. So, at least for an intellectual thinking, I was thinking what can be done. There has to be a full coordination among all agencies which are implementing there are so many. Take buses, there is with whatever it's called now, transport corporations, then metro. All of them should sit together and they should plan well for a long term. So short-term planning for years. Actually, what happens in government is if the government changes, everything changes. And if the corporation commissioner changes, he changes everything. Once I asked a special officer, I was a group of corporation employees, I asked them very clearly, I had read that In Search of Excellence at that time. That was a famous book. So I asked them, every company has to have a motto. I said, what is your motto? Pat came a reply saying, sir, special officer's motto is our motto. So that there is no goal. Whatever you want, they will do. Whatever the minister wants, officers will do. And citizens, I have never, they don't participate, they only grumble. There is no concrete action group. I have seen in a small place called Redmond in USA, small plot to be used for something. They put an advertisement, your objections will be received, you will be heard on system. It's a very small part. Whatever they do there, nothing will happen to the city. But here we suddenly find out MMA coming up in a narrow road. I don't know how it came up here. I am not able to enter it. Then somebody says, rules are there, but they can be relaxed. Nobody bothers. So, two things are important. When you have a long-term plan, you have to visualize how Tamil Nadu will be in 2025 or 2050. 2025, 2050, how should Chennai be? Will the Chennai citizens will they live better? I think my 50 years experience tells me my quality of life has not improved much. So, that kind of a planning, citizen-centric planning, can we do? Are we capable? And if we are capable, are we able to implement? I really don't know. I leave the thought because it's a theoretical discussion. I am not giving any advice to the government. I am only saying that is that possible. That is what they do. And I visited Redmond after 20 years. It looks the same. The roads, pavements are the same height. Every year I see pavements are being raised by 1 foot, roads are being raised by another 1 foot. Nobody questions. And everybody has a solution, their private solution. So, a long-term planning and then standards. I have seen many people praising that T Nagar, smart city development. I went and saw it recently only. I didn't see it at that time. I see only payments. I see people sleeping there. I find shops have come up. Sooner or later, I have seen cars being parked in footpaths. I want to walk there, but there is a car, I have to get down. Now, corporation will say, our job is to put the payments. It is the job of the police to enforce traffic rules. How will it work? Then why do you do it? If you watch any road in Chennai city, most citizens walk on the road. Anywhere you see, by and large, because you cannot walk on the footpath. Whereas, how many minutes more, Mr. Okay, all right. So, Then integrated planning authority, they think through a long term, that standards are very important. Let us say my problem which I talked about, this Srinagar issue, people are very happy. I talked to the shopkeepers, they told me, sir, very good sir. Naturally they will be good because there was no space in front of their shop earlier. Shops were there, but traffic, I don't know where the impact of the traffic is going to be. I have not studied it. There has to be some, I have seen Manhattan also. Yeah, footpath is wide, but the roads are even wider. There has to be a ratio between footpath and this. Look at the stormwater drains which have been dug up. I am criticizing corporation now. The rainfall is same over the years, 100 years, more or less. And area is the same. Why do they double the stormwater? Everybody is happy. I have talked to intelligent people. Very good, they are doing this. This year rains were less, therefore it went. But if you take a year like 2015, you will see it will be, and by that time it will be blocked. These stormwater drains will be blocked. So we don't have a long-term perspective. We don't demand anything, and therefore our urban life will deteriorate over the years. Look at the mosquitoes. Because of the stormwater drain, water collected and mosquito bred like anything. I had to beg the corporation to come and clean it up. So we don't bother, and therefore long-term planning standards. Standards are a must. What should be the footpath length to the ratio of this? Like that, so many urban standards can be evolved, and we have to stick to it. It cannot be modified to the whims and fancies of officers or administration. Then instead of satellite towns, I was thinking of another idea, namely, there are already towns, Kanchipuram, Chengalpet nearby. Can't you make them as livable as Chennai? You know, what do they want, Chennai people? They want good schools, good hospitals, as far as I could see. Excellent schools. Motivate some of the good schools to go there and set up all these facilities. Then active citizens I have already covered. How best we can improve our living conditions? I mean, that is also a thought for your consumption. Sanitation is the most important. Public health. We cannot see. I see Mylapore daily when I go there. Sewage water flowing. Whereas Elilmigu Chennai is the advertisement. Sewage water flowing in Lattice Bridge Road, I have seen number of times. I don't know whether you see it or not. Because of my corporation work, my eyes are always on the road and what is happening outside. That's a big problem for me. Even now I see. And health. See, the 80% of the people who migrate here are poor. They are not having houses like us. They need a good public health system because that's very essential. They need low-cost housing. It has to be planned and built in so that they don't have to travel much. Even if they want to travel, there has to be a cheap and very comfortable movement facility. Education, we have got excellent school. I know there are so many schools open where 1 lakh is being charged. And these fellows borrow and try to put their children there because in a competitive environment, they have no other go. So can we not improve the quality of education? This is a tall, if you ask me whether if I become a chief minister, whether I will be able to do, I am saying I will not be able to do. I am making an intellectual talk to make us live better. I went to Malaysia in 1995, very long back. I was surprised to see their cities, not Kuala Lumpur. Some small city I went there because it's health related. It's very well laid. Standards are good. Roads are good. People are living better. Maybe you have a greater problem because our population density is high. But even today, I think Kerala people, he was making a mention, they live better. They don't have an urban concept culture. You know, all these rural people, they settle there, they got small garden, they live well. I have seen many times I just admire how well they live. Therefore, citizens' participation is very important to improve our urban planning, quality, standards, and rigidity and standards. It's very good, but whether it is possible or not, I doubt very much. I am too old to see any change. But I have left these thoughts to you so that you can ponder over it, discuss, and bring out some scathing criticism of the way in which urban planning works here in this state or country. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. After two such eminent speakers, there isn't much of recommendations which I can say, but instead, what I would like to draw attention upon is my experience of Tamil Nadu. So right now I see a lot of students as well here. So right now in the newspapers we have been reading quite a lot about JEE results are out, NEET results are out. And thanks to our Prime Minister Modi, who gave a different expansion for AI in the recent news. AI is the next future and power. So given the same, recently I came across another small post on if Indian states were students, what would their CGPA be? So recently it was there in the news. So everybody is these days bothered about scores, marks. And so ChatGPT has come out with a good analysis of various states in India. And it has come out with an interesting map, which kind of color classifies different states. So if the Indian states were students, what would the CGPA be? So which state do you think would be standing high when it comes to the CGPA overall, whether it is socio-economic, political, cultural, moral, etc.? Any guesses? Great, of course. Tamil Nadu stands first with a 9.2 CGPA. And the next one is Maharashtra. And what gave me even more pleasure is that though India was filled with myriad colors, I was happy that the whole of southwestern part of India was in the brightest of green, showcasing that each and every state had an 8-point plus CGPA, which kind of shows that each of us are doing something right, in the right direction when it comes to urbanization, social change, and development. And unlike many of you, I came to Chennai more than 25 years back as a student. And the Chennai of those times and the Chennai of these days, I can definitely see the difference. Long back, I used to live, study, and work in Nungambakam. So in those days, the end of Chennai, according to me, to my limited knowledge, was Anna Nagar. There wasn't anything beyond Anna Nagar. So today, after some time, then I got a job in another company which had an office in Indialand Tech Park. That was when I started exploring a place called Mugappir. When I first started living there, there were no street lights. There was hardly anything there. Traveling in the night was actually a challenge. It was a UK shift for me, and within around 8 months, my family told, enough. This is more than enough. Please get back home. And I started working with my current company where I've already completed 11 plus years. So out of my 23 plus years of career, which is there, today I'm coming from Sungua Chatram. And how that place is actually marketed is சென்னைக்கு மிக அருகில். இது சென்னைக்கு மிக அருகில்னு ஒரு 10 வருஷம் முன்னாடி என்கிட்ட யாராவது சொல்லியிருந்ததுன்னா கண்டிப்பா நம்பியிருக்க மாட்டேன். Sri Perumbutur caught my attention only when Rajiv Gandhi expired there. But even at that point, Sri Perumbutur was also a village and outside the city. Ana inniki adum city da. And to give you another example, almost 11 years back, 11, 12 years back, our company was allotted land in Oragadam as part of that single window clearance and gym and all these things. So once the land was allotted, the first action for many of us were to kind of go there, see what the place is like, work with the community to ensure that the organization as well as the community develops hand in hand. So the first aspect, as we said, many of the corporates work on the CSR aspect of it. And we also did a vulnerability analysis and identified a few areas as our key areas of work. Until today, that kind of holds true. And we believe that these are few areas which are very important when the industrial and economic development as well as social development needs to go hand in hand. So the first one was education. So I would like to share an interesting experience which I had when it came to education. So the first thing which we did was to kind of try and work on the infrastructure development of some of the elementary schools as well as high schools in the villages near the areas where our campus is located. So when we went there, we found that some of those schools were more than 50 years old. So we worked on the infrastructure rejuvenation, improving the learning resources, etc. And the initial one was also to kind of build a campus compound wall for many of these schools, because post the school hours, these schools were being used by miscreants. So the idea was to build a compound wall. So when we started the discussion, there was a small hut near the school compound. And there was an old lady sitting in the veranda every day kind of seeing. So she saw that after quite a long time, somebody is coming here every day, comes by a car, sits down, goes around looking at things. And then she kind of came and asked me, "So what are you doing here?" I said, "We are working on refurbishing the school and also building a compound wall." So then the lady said, "Okay, nice that you're building a compound wall. But you know, Ma, my house is right behind the school. So can you please leave a little bit of area for me to go to my house while you are building this compound wall?" I said, "Definitely. You should definitely go to your house. I would definitely leave that place and then only build the compound wall." All agreed. Next day morning when I came, she was very, very happy. She came in and said, "Mal, last night we bought a car. So please ensure that you leave enough space for me to take my car inside. And when I go in, the car is an Innova. So that means another 6 feet has to grow." And then the next thing came that they are relatives of the local panchayat person. And every day evening, some 6 to 7 lorries come. So space needs to be there to park the lorries as well. So, long story short, the social change and urbanization which happened there, when all these industries started coming in there, government purchased their land for more than 6x the price. And all the small houses which were there had multi-millionaires staying in there. And the small car was just the beginning. The lorries were just the beginning. It was a social change. And many years later, almost 10 years later now, the same party sits there very happy, speaking on her WhatsApp. When we go there, so all my kids, grandkids, they are all in America, Canada, etc. Video calls are happening. So on one side, development is happening. On the other side is a social change happening. Is the mindset change happening? Another example of this one is just 5 minutes from there. There is a small river with an Irula community out there. We tried our level best to get water across to this community. The water line connection is coming up till there. But then few people came in and said, அவா வீட்டுக்கு போன தண்ணி எங்களுக்கு திருப்பி வேண்டாம். இவ்வளோ படிச்சவங்க ஒரு பைப்பில் தண்ணி which goes that side doesn't come back through the same way அப்படின்றது கூட யோசிக்கிறது இல்லை. But the water is not going there. So instead of that one, we rejuvenated one entire water body, made water provision available for the community, and that is going. But simple thing is, when it comes to education, we found that it is very, very important that these changes and mindset changes kind of happen from a very young age. So currently, the company where I'm working, Danfoss, we are working on the education aspect of the community wherever our offices are operating, to ensure that these children also understand the basics of sustainability, energy efficiency, equality, etc., right from a very young age. Then the next one was sustainable livelihood through skill development. When urbanization is happening on one side, I'm very happy with the Tamil Nadu story here, because when I read the history, it says that in 1960s and 70s, Tamil Nadu had one of the highest poverty levels. But come 2000s, Tamil Nadu stands really high when it comes on the socio-economic index or the industrial index. And the other part of it is that Tamil Nadu has had an equitable development when it comes to industrialization. The manufacturing industries and the others, the small, medium and major industries are actually equally spread across various areas of Tamil Nadu, so that today we have enough and more examples to kind of showcase. So on one side, we have the textiles, on the other side, automobiles, the pump manufacturers which are there, the TVS and so many other companies which came in, and the CSR initiatives which came in, ensured that the industrialization as well as the socio-economic developments were happening hand in hand. And today the next aspect of it, as Sir said, health and environment, they are also really important. Circularity is something which has always been there in our DNA, especially in the southern part of India. But now, as time goes forward, it is really important that the circularity and environment aspect is also taken care. And here, I am happy that though India has an aim to be carbon neutral by 2070, Tamil Nadu has recently come out with a Tamil Nadu Climate Action Plan, wherein Tamil Nadu has committed to be carbon neutral by 2050. And in many areas, along with the development, by around 2050, 100% of the MTC buses will be electrified. Similarly, minimum 35% of our cities would be demarcated as green cover. And a new program is also coming in called Maradaga Tamilagam. So it is where currently one of the challenges is, on one side, though government is taking initiative, the next part of it, who is going to take ownership after that? So there are some initiatives where public, private, individual, academic partnerships are going to come in play to ensure that more greening of Tamil Nadu is happening, and industries as well as academic institutions as well as maybe housing welfare authorities and welfare institutions can pick up parts of Tamil Nadu, take ownership for that one, and ensure that the development which has happened there, the greening which has happened there, is kind of maintained with the due standards. Last but not the least, we are also moving into a scenario where by 2050, all the energy electricity which comes to our houses would also be from renewable energy sources. So the fact that the state actually had a vision and has put an action plan together to kind of achieve something by around 2050, that itself is promising for me. And here it is also important that we take all aspects of our community together in this journey. So even when it comes to climate action, it is important that each of us kind of take whatever action we can. And here I'm happy to share that at Danfoss, we wanted to walk the talk. Every time when we talk about development, we are looking at foreign countries and what people are doing in other areas. So I would like to stop with a small example of Sonneborg, a very, very small city in a very small country called Denmark. So the country of Denmark promised that they will become carbon neutral by 2030. And the small city came forward and then told, if my country is becoming carbon neutral by 2030, I will become carbon neutral by 2029. And every single person in that city, the industrialists, the politicians, the individual households, the industry bodies, academicians, everybody came together to ensure that this city is actually developing in the right direction, and everybody was keeping check of each other. And now, though they have a 2030 target, as on 2022, they are almost 72% towards whatever their climate targets are. And they are a place where they are actually buying waste from other countries to generate heat. And here we have enough and more waste. And I was happy that the other day, Tamil Nadu minister was saying that the Pallikaranai marshlands, which used to be a dumping yard for a lot of waste, that is going to undergo a sea change. A lot of segregation is going to happen, and that is going to come back to its natural glory of being a great place for migratory birds to kind of come. The old Chennai, the Vedantangals and the beauty of the old, age-old Chennai, that is something which we need to kind of recreate for our future generations. The Chennai which I saw 25 years back, today when my son is going to an engineering college, I don't think he is actually seeing the Chennai which I saw. I am not seeing the Chennai which you have seen. But it is our responsibility to ensure that together we can do much for the country. And here at MMA, most probably, quoting from a famous scenario, they say, ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you can do for the country. So maybe here at MMA, ask not for what the state can do for you. Let us ask ourselves, what can we do for the state? All the students, all the industrialists, all the experts of MMA, can we come together and support in this Tamil Nadu action plan and ensure that we are crafting the change which we want to see in this state? So can we have a mix of education, skill development, health, environment and climate going together to create the Chennai of tomorrow? Thank you.
Thank you, my speakers. And that was a very conceptual talk by both. And just, Mrs. Anju, the Nungambakam you were talking about, we are told that 50 years before that, even possibly your house was on a lake, right? The entire Nungambakam belt, going all the way up to CIT colony, was a lake. Things keep changing. And again, I have seen photographs taken in the mid-50s, where Kuam was this thing, navigable waterway. And possibly people like Poornalingam and people slightly older to me may have been part of it. Today, now, we are having some questions. And please stand up when I mention the name. Then after that, Mr. Vijayakumar may have some questions coming online. Dr. Paul. Is Dr. Paul here? These questions are online. Okay. With labor shortage increasing, how much effort it will have on agriculture, and how do we tackle it? Mr. Poornalingam? With labor shortage increasing, how much effort it will have on agriculture and how do we tackle it?
See, basically, I think I have looked at some numbers, macro level numbers. In a Western country, typically only 1% or 2% is in agriculture. I remember the latest for India is about 45%. Latest for India. Probably in Tamil Nadu it will be much less. Simple solutions is here. Mechanization is the only solution. I have seen it. If I go to a village now, I see thrashing. In those days, I used to lay thrashing floors for getting paddy out of this. Nowadays, they have got the harvester, they got tractor. In every village, I see a tractor, harvester. I don't know the technology of agriculture much, but I see with my own eyes, same village where I visited, everything mechanized. They cry about electrician. I cry about plumber. I cry about an electrician. I think Captain Vijayabaskar should arrange for me because I'm a speaker. So that is a problem. You see, I went to a hospital today. Some person was working. A person was working. He has a PA to a CEO. I asked her casually, what's your qualification? MD Biotechnology, MS Biotechnology, or MSc Biotechnology. After doing that, she's there. Then one doctor tells me that he went to a barber shop. He asked the fellow casually, what's your qualification? He said, I'm a BE mechanical. What the hell is this? Then he said, sir, I was getting 6,000 rupees for Indian industry. Now I get about 12,000 rupees in this. So I am bringing my brother also into this. In my days in 93 itself, I have seen engineers working for whatever is the labor rate with the contractors. I used to ask, what's your background? So the mismatch of skills and the labor is always there. In due course with artificial intelligence, we will have only plumbers and electricians. All educated people will educate their children because that artificial intelligence cannot do it. So the solution is mechanization. Realize that with development, it is going to happen. Farmers will have to have sprinkler education, automatic system, computer generated inputs, everything will have to come. We are a little late in India, but it's there already there in many countries. Thank you.
Yeah, just one anecdote before, just as Mr. Poornalingam was saying, I used to quote it quite often. Just go around that Mailapur tank, and particularly on a particular street, there is a vegetable vendors, right? About 5-7 years, I think, but about 7-8 years back, when I did some kind of informal survey, I was surprised to find that at least 4 of those girls working with their parents were engineering graduates. And around that time, down south in a small town, I saw at least one boy and a girl, engineering graduates, respectively working as farm labor and a mason. It was their family business, if you want to say that. Then I asked them, what is the economics of it? They said, we wanted to learn, we studied. Yes, our parents are uneducated and at times illiterate. They went by what our teachers said, we went there. And for what is happening, in Chennai city, if I get a job at that time, Coimbatore had not developed even this much. I will get a job for 7 or 8 or 10,000. Then, or 15,000, 20,000. That is not enough for my upkeep. Here, every day I go to work, I get 600 rupees or 800 rupees, depending on the season. On a day I don't want, I don't go. No income tax. I live with my parents, no overheads or no expenses. But then what am I going to do with this education? I will know how to teach my children. That was it. That is going to make that kind of a social change. As Mr. Poornalingam rightly pointed out, we stay in a small village. Every family, I know of a family of 3 brothers, they have bought a thresher, another has brought a tractor. They lease it to their own villages. And their children are studying. English medium school if they are in school education, or if they are up the higher education, it could be anything from engineering to medicine. So there is a social change happening outside our knowledge, our urban middle class knowledge, that the government seem to be taking up. They have understood it. They are making changes. And unfortunately, many of us don't know this. We are unable to accept it. Question, sir? Your question?
Sir, I'm Jairaj. This is for Mr. Poornalingam. Sir, you were talking about poor public participation. Can you elaborate further on how the participation could be made more intense? And secondly, sir, you're also telling about poor planning. Perhaps there is poor planning as well as poor execution of whatever is planned. Is it because of the basic constraint of funds in the country as a developing country?
You have asked a very good question. First question, people's participation, because we don't question anything at all by and large. You see, I have been a corporation interacting with citizens. They want a light in front of their house. They want a road. If I do it, I am a great man. What policies I follow? The main reason is, I think we participate in the election. I have not seen in the councillor. I have never seen him, even before voting, after voting. That is the way it is. And since I was in the corporation, I talked to some assistant engineer, get small things done. Getting small things done, for example, cleaning my stormwater drain, it took me 10 years. For me, we don't bother when the rain comes, we shout, then the water is not raining. It took me 10 years. When I shouted at I think some fellow came, I was pursuing. He took from my stormwater drain 2 lorry loads of filth. See, instead of maintaining, we want more construction. You know the obvious reasons. What is your second question? Funds. Here is a very, very important question. I have a view. You may think that I am boasting a little bit. When I came to the corporation, the stormwater drains, desilting was the work I was trying to personally supervise. My commissioner was good, deputy commissioner was good. Everybody was in the streets checking out whether desilting was being done. Okay? Then I asked for a map of stormwater drain in the city. And they were not able to give a map.
There's no map.
They were not able to give a map. I said, prepare a map. Where is the gap? Connecting it to the Adayar River, three waterways, essentially 3 waterways. Kubam, Adayar, Bukhayam Canal. Where is it all connected? I will come and see. Then they said they are connected. I will come and see. You show me the map. We prepared them. I'm just telling you. 94 or 93. I prepared the map, left it. Those days, digitalization, etc. was not there. The university was saying, we have got remote sensing. We can give you the map. They keep saying, not doing. Then we got it done. The usual map system, everything was connected. Indian Express is the most great critic of corporation in those days. They wrote saying that this time, no water logging was there in T Nagar. I told T Nagar is the worst place. Then every year they spend some 1,000 crores, there is called some smart city program in Delhi. I worked in Delhi for 10 years. Those chaps don't understand anything. They say that you smart city, these fellows will, stormwater drain is the easiest, We don't know what goes below the ground. So they will lay it and everybody makes good money. So we don't question it, except that Yekam or some name for Arapur Yekam questioned many things. He told me stories. In Besant Nagar, you don't need a stormwater drain because sandy soil will get absorbed. There are roads like, take example, Koturpuram Road. From Cancer Institute to Adayar. If you simply slope it, water will flow into the Adayar River.
Instead, they put a massive stormwater drain. The other day I saw a two-wheeler going. Stormwater drain on top of the footpath. The two-wheeler was going on it. Nobody can walk. So we don't take into account the reality of the situation. I used to say, no footpath should be more than 4.5 feet. Because 5 feet you will put a shop. If it is 5 feet. I've seen Besant Nagar, 10 feet of footpaths. Whose idea, some architect, some fellow came, he has seen it theoretically, drops it. That's why I'm talking about standards and long-term planning. And take it from me in another 5 years, both Srinagar and Besant Nagar will be, another commissioner will come and will say, I will widen the road. I remember I widened Nungambang road. IIT, that income tax, etc., etc. What do we do? Solve problem. Then he said, we will make the footpath not more than 4. And stormwater drains are always in the edge of the road, world over. Both sides of the road, or one side. Now I see stormwater drain in the middle of the road. Who designed it? Who can question it? I can't question it. I had to struggle for cleaning up my stormwater drain. So people should question it in an intelligent way. My friend tells me, this time they have put so many somewhere. Very good. Where there is no need. I have seen them putting in lanes, small lanes. What is the motivation? I don't know how to elaborate. So we have to be alert, we have to question, and what else can I do? I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
I am too critical or am I frank? No, there is no press here, na? Captain, there is no press here. Tomorrow they will increase my tax by double.
You need me. Okay?
Yeah, this is a reflection based on Mr. Poornalingam's talk, I worked, Mr. Tattadri, in CMDA, and I worked there for more than 30 years. Now I'm retired. And I have seen the changing phases of CMDA. Like you said earlier, that they were the hub. They were the ones who had all the departments, coordinating and planning the city. But later on, we found that, everything sort of disintegrated. And CMDA is just now sanctioning multi-story buildings and special buildings. But then I was involved in a project which was based on the United Nations Development Program, which they called as Sustainable Cities Project, where we had a broad-based participatory approach. They wanted that to be, replicated all over the city. So we were there, and CMDA funded those. After the funding of UN stopped, CMDA funded the project. And it went off very well, where we included the elected representatives of the local panchayat, the people's participation. We had developed many water bodies and all that. But then people didn't want it. They don't want the people to be involved in the program. That's one thing. Another line of thought that came to my mind when you said the people should ask. Okay, they don't ask. They don't bother. They don't want to have anything disturbed. If there is an uncomfortable situation, they would try to, live around that, not address the issue. For example, in my house, since 2015, every year my house will be flooded. There'll be waters inside the house. Only after that. So then they came to lay the road without milling the road. So I had to really, put up a little fight. But then it worked. And then all the engineers from the top level, they came and they said, okay, you asked for that, we will do it. But then don't worry, we are going to do the stormwater drains. From this year onwards, your house will not be flooded. Fine. So they milled our road. That's the only time I'm seeing a milling machine. Okay. They milled our road. The very next road, just on top of that, they were laying. And nobody questioned them. So when I feel that somebody has to ask them. People should ask, which they don't.
Excuse me, we'll have it after the. Okay. Do you have any question, please?
Yeah, no, it's not a question. I just want to make
No,
a,
no, we don't generally encourage that from the audience. Everyone will be talking. Please, reduce it to a question if you.
yeah, like, is there some way where the people could be made to participate from your experience? Is there some method in which
Yes,
the
we are
people
running
can
short of
be
time.
made to participate?
Even other. Any other questions? What about the students? Yes, sir. Stick to the topic, and I think we are coming down to Chennai.
Yeah.
The topic is much wider.
I am Venkateshan, a retired banker, and
Right,
with all respects to our retired administrator, I just want to put one question only, at large, at a macro level. If I understand, if I recall, the governance earlier meditated that there should not be a migration from rural and semi-urban areas to city because they want to restrict the mobility. I feel that migration has taken place in spite of that. Why such remedy has not been done?
I think you are asking for the impossible because even in China, where they have a permit system to come to urban areas from a rural area, government gives permit. For in our city, they can get into a train. Even they need not pay for the train. They can come to the city and go and get a house and start working. In India, that is impossible. But I am saying take that into account. We also need services. We need plumbers, we need drivers, we need whoever it is, well-to-do people need all that. And industry people need labor. So, one is what I was trying to say is a central authority look at urban areas, Kanchipuram, Madurai, interconnect them in such a way, an integrated development of Tamil Nadu urbanization. The urbanization will be 80% in due course. So help that urbanization to be smooth, migration to be smooth, take care of the people better. What you are saying is, how do you prevent it? That Pura scheme is...
I want just a restriction.
How can you put a restriction? Freedom of movement, Article 14.
Yes, sir, we understand, sir. Please. So there is another problem about this topic and your question. We say Tamil Nadu is getting urbanized. It is migration is only part of it. But the fact is, nearly 52%. The synopsis says 48% by 2011, and we are looking at urbanization rate of 69 or 70% by 2030, right? Which automatically means the city is also expanding. If you take the CMDA, for instance, the previous government in Tamil Nadu said expanded CMDA area to more than 8,000 square kilometers, which should have been the largest urban conglomerate. Is it true? No. Now this government, I think, reduced it by a few thousand kilometers. Yes. No. Urban conglomerate by the CMDA and all that. So there is some expansion happening the other way around. You take any district headquarters, what was the original town size? What is the size now? People are traveling, not only migration, it is expanding. Let us take Chennai. How many of you can claim to be descendants of original inhabitants of the town? Right? This is always a migrant town, village. When Chennapatna was founded, there were only some fishing hamlets. Right? Today, each and every one of us is a descendant, even if you claim that you are been here for, my parents were here, it is my native place. No. you are fooling yourself and others. None of us, possibly including you, sir, is a native of Chennai. If you look at 4, 5, 6 generations back, they did not belong here. And as I said, half the story, about the First World War I mentioned, 1911 and 1921 census, 1941 and 51, there was again a drought in the Tanjavur Delta and other farming areas. And for the Second World War effort, the government needed people. That was when Binny Mills became such a huge thing. Madras Port became a huge employer. Railways became a huge employer. And even about 10 years back, when I was sitting in Marina Beach just for this kind of a chit-chat with youngsters, I discovered a boy who was selling chundal. I asked him, he was carrying a school bag. எங்கேருந்துடா வர? நான் இப்படி தஞ்சாவூரில் அப்பா விவசாய லேபராக இருந்தார். இப்போ 3 வருஷமே விவசாயம் இல்லை, பைசா இல்லை. அப்பா இங்கே வந்து ஆட்டோ ஓட்டுறாரு. ரைட்? நான் இங்கே சாயங்காலம் சுண்டல் வித்துட்டு இருக்கேன். Each one of us is a migrant. But there are migrant stories we needn't shy away from. Once an auto driver dropped me in Stella Maris College. His daughter was studying there. Son was studying engineering. Right? So, migrant labor or migrant population per se is not but how to, as Madam said, how to have a comprehensive manner.
Development of district headquarters.
That is happening. That is what I am saying. That is happening. Right. So now,
Sir, may I just add on to that one?
please, I was.
So in earlier days, there was one thing about people moving from rural to urban areas in search of jobs. Now with more industries coming in, right now in Tamil Nadu itself, there are more than 45,000 industries. With more industries coming in and impetus on diversity and inclusion, in most of our companies, we are welcoming this diversity. So it is not just people coming voluntarily. When we are hiring, we actually want people from different genders, different geographies, different languages, this melting pot of cultures and skills we want. So like that also a lot of people are coming in by demand. So now we have got enough and more expats also living in places like Kanjipuram. Yeah.
Excuse me, let us talk after the event. One last question. With land and water in short supply, is there any scope for urbanization, particularly industrial growth? With land and water in short supply, is there any scope for further scope for urbanization? Obviously, expansion of urbanization, particularly industrial growth?
Definitely, sir. According to the data, 2/3 of India is yet to be built. So there is enough and more scope left for further urbanization. Simple example being, we are an agrarian economy. And from normal agriculture and horticulture, today we are moving on to a scenario where there is a lot of scope for food processing and value addition in food industries itself. And with the kind of efforts which have happened, the bananas of Tamil Nadu have today made its way all the way to Italy and Europe with RFID tracking. Thanks to the multimodal cold storages and the kind of food processing techniques which are there. So, and that is just one example. Rice, turmeric, fisheries, flowers, enough and more examples are there of all these produce making its way. Earlier we have never seen of agriculture as an industry. Now agriculture is an industry. Food processing is an industry. So like that, there is enough and more happening. So definitely there is scope for urbanization. And more SIPCOTs and other areas are also being developed. More industrial corridors are also going to come up. So that is also there under the plan.
You would like that? With that, of course, there are a lot of, sorry sir, time up. You were sitting in the front, you could have asked the first question. Sorry, there are few more questions online. We are unable. Please,
House owner, we don't object, so,
Mike.
Mike. Second.
Tamil Nadu's case, if you break the state, some parties are suggesting that. What is your opinion as an expert?
This is nothing to do with this subject. I think nobody is thinking of dividing the state, fortunately.
So this is the too sensitive.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
This is the language reorganization
Yeah.
took place in 1956, etc. Telangana problem was different. One area was backward, another area forward. That is why they asked. Fortunately, in Tamil Nadu, it's a balanced development. Madurai, Tirunelveli, I have seen these developments when I travel by car. More or less balanced, with the center being Chennai. Nobody would like to shift the headquarters of Tamil Nadu from Chennai to Madurai or Trichy. MGR attempted once. Be happy that we will continue with the capital.
Thank you, sir. I know this is a topic we can keep going on and on because it's so interesting. Idea is we made this topic to be discussed because we want to kindle the thought process of many, put some sense in the people so that we do something as a citizen and whatever the points said by Mr. Poornalingam, all Anju, I think it's all very relevant. And as you said, the state, still the people crib that we lost Tirupati, they think they lost Chennai Harbour. So there's no end to all this. It's all settled deal now. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause to distinguished panelists for this evening. Very fascinating evening. I think over 490 people are watching it online. That shows the interest of the people in this subject. So we will be bringing more such events, more subject, which will kindle your thought process because we want you to think. That's the idea of organizing this discussion. I'm really happy people started getting into debate, and that shows the involvement of the people. I really appreciate that. And as a token of our appreciation, I would like to present. This is all the item made by children as a MMS CSR initiative. That's what we give to the speakers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, viewers, for sending so many questions. I know some of them we couldn't think, but positively, all this will be replied to you. Thanks so much. Till we meet again. Bye-bye. Those who registered for the AA, please do come. Otherwise, watch it online. Bye-bye. See you and good night.